This is a man who served for like 35 years as a senator, 8 years as a vice president, 4 years as a president. You don't just bail when you have a crappy night. You actually talk to people around you. I hope everyone will look very carefully at what our country needs. And then if it's President Biden, if it's someone else he chooses, which I'm certain, personally, if the president didn't run, he would humbly ask the vice president to step in, who has been extraordinary. If people made that choice in his circle, that's up to them. But he earned our nomination, and certainly he's earned our respect also. From my perspective as a young governor, new to the job, I'm 19 months in, I kind of think if a person has spent their whole life serving, they ought to be able to make up their own mind. And I respect that. We'll probably know in the next couple of days how the president feels about all this, but the former president poses an existential threat to women and much of our democracy. And so it would be a real drag to see him become our commander-in-chief again. The president can absolutely continue with the campaign. It has actually gotten surprisingly closer in some ways based on some polls, but the president will have to make that decision no matter what. He has earned the nomination. He's earned our respect over many decades. He's actually done great for the last 3.5 years. But I know everyone is panicked about the performance he had during the debate, including some governors, including some senators and congresspeople, including people in coffee shops. At the end of the day, he and Jill, who is extraordinary, will make that decision with their inner circle and with the vice president. And I asked if the president was okay and to share with us, what the scoop was. He made that self-deprecating joke, which, just for the record, it was absolutely a joke. And in order to make a self-deprecating joke, you have to have intact cognitive function, period. So it was obviously a joke, and much of America does need to lighten up when that kind of thing happens. But it's much better than what you would hear from Mr. Trump, which would be something along the lines of Trump has a great brain, Trump can beat any MRI scan, Trump got cleared in the third person. At the end of the day, people should assess both of these two, candidates, one a current president, one a former president, and decide who has actually the right values for the country and for the people. It's totally possible that if the president looks into his soul and feels that he can't win this election, it's totally possible he'll make a different decision. But it won't be based on one night and a debate. It would have to be based on what he feels he can give to the country. So if the president and his family chose to step away after essentially earning the nomination, it would be his prerogative to share with us who he felt should carry the torch. And keep in mind that the president has been essentially running as a ticket with Kamala Harris for these many, many months. And of course, since the last election. I think it's very clear that the Democratic Party would be ecstatic overall to have the president designate his vice president if it came to that. She is a powerful person. She is also a thought-leading woman. She's an African-American who was attorney general. There are no credentials that are better than what the current vice president has if it's not Mr. Biden, if it's not President Biden at the top of the ticket. I have every expectation she would be the nominee if he asked us to nominate her. A lot of these leaks that come out, they don't have the full context. Like when he made the contextual comment about his brain, it was a joke. When he made the contextual comment about not being out late, it's because he's then got to get back on a plane, fly back to the White House, get in at midnight, probably start in again at 4:30 in the morning. I don't know anybody who will function well on that little sleep. I think the president stays in this race unless he feels that it is not winnable, or he feels that he has to hear other voices that are in his inner circle that he shouldn't run. If the president felt that he wasn't up to it and truly not up to it, he would step down. I'll just say this, just to put it out there in broad terms. I've had a lot of time to see the president. Most of the time, 99.9% of the time, he's been fantastic. And we all have a day here or there where you're not going to be good. That's reality. This president is very different than former President Trump as far as what he has to offer. So judge him that way.